The coronavirus pandemic has affected many areas of our life, from our jobs to social lives and even our mental health. However, one of the biggest areas to have taken a hit is the education sector, with schools being closed for months and online classes not accessible for many. Teachers and students have had to make many changes in the way they teach and learn, and this has caused a great deal of stress, worry, and anxiety. But could a certain branch of psychology help alleviate these issues and promote a smoother transition to this new normal? Today, we're going to talk about how positive psychology can be used to help teachers manage in the new normal. This session is brought to you by HealthOmind. HealthOmind is a mental wellness startup based in Bangalore that aims to create awareness about mental health and well being across the nation. We at HealthOmind aim to build the world's largest holistic mental wellness platform. We attempt to improve mental wellness through an integrated approach that involves aspects of different therapies, such as expressive arts therapies, meditation, yoga, and mindfulness, along with more traditional therapeutic methods. We strive to build an ecosystem with a foundation comprising of capacity building, strong content management, relevant products and services to attain our objective of enabling others to overcome their mental health difficulties whilst fighting the stigma around it. Joining us today is Ms. Rachna Avatramani. Rachna is a professional counseling psychologist with more than 10 years of experience in practicing, mentoring, and guiding clients. She helps her clients cope with various emotional challenges through her expertise, knowledge, and learning from a postgraduate degree in counseling psychology. Her additional credentials in the field of psychology include certification from Yale University on the science of well-being, certification in psychological first aid from Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, and happiness life coach certification from Transformation Services Incorporated. She's also been contributing to Times of India's Ask the Expert column. Hi Rachna, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Amantika. Thank you for having me here. I'm really looking forward to speak to people on positive psychology and especially to the teachers because as you mentioned, this has been a very challenging time for teachers. So I hope I could contribute through my knowledge and my training towards making their life a little effortless.
Absolutely. So, we're all waiting to see, what you have in store. Currently, people are just joining in. So, just want
Okay.
to make sure that we are completely audible and visible. If we are, then all the viewers just type one in the chat box. And just wanted to remind you that we are also going to be giving you a chance to ask Rachna questions at the end. So please stay with us. This is going to be a really insightful session, and do make sure to post all of your questions in the Q&A section. Okay, Rachna, over to you.
Thank you, Vandika. So I'm just going to ask the participants to say hi, hello. You can just put in so that as Avantika said that we know that you can hear us. And it'll also be nice to keep interacting with you during the presentation because that's how I know that you are with me. Otherwise, I will just feel I'm speaking, to my computer. So might as well I know that I'm talking to you guys. So welcome, all of you. And I know most of you are teachers, and you know that today's topic is positive psychology and using positive psychology to, make our work little effortless, especially when you are teaching kids and how you manage your own mental health with positive psychology techniques. So I am going to eventually teach you how to create a toolkit for yourself, how to, keep your mental peace in place because I remember this when I started working from home during pandemic. I mean, everybody did. So did I. And my mom was not used to seeing me working from home and sitting on, in front of my laptop and talking to people. So वो बीच बीच में से ऐसे आवाज आती थी, अरे come and help me in the kitchen, can't you just do this at home, like, and my sessions used to go on. So I understand when teachers are working from home, they are conducting lectures, and if they are living with their parents or partner or children. I can just imagine what all, might be happening with you guys. So just to take this forward, I'm just going to quickly um, see. Okay, there are some people putting some things up in Q&A section and chat section. To keep that active, it will be really nice if you put it in chat box so I can see if you all want to, just say hi, hello, and just keep interacting with the whole session. As you know, it's positive psychology. So I am going to start. Hello, Jayanti. I'm going to start by telling you what is positive psychology. ओके सब बोलते हैं पॉजिटिव बात करो, पॉजिटिव सोचो, बच्चों को पॉजिटिव तरीके से सिखाओ एंड ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स. But what actually is positive psychology? So positive psychology is a scientific study of what makes life worth living. And more than that, when we talk about positivity, we talk about happiness. Positive psychology is the study behind it. They do a lot of research before they tell you anything. So all the positive psychologists, the experts have actually done research in happiness, in well-being, and we are using that in our day-to-day life. So बस किसी का experience सुन के नहीं बोल रहे हैं. There is a proper methodology and proper scientific study done behind this. So the most important aspect over here people ask is, then how do I manage the negative thoughts or the negative bias? Because one of the research also says that every third thought in our mind is negative. So how do I deal with it? If I'm positive, I'm also negative. In fact, a lot of time people say there is nothing called as positivity because just discard the whole thing. So I am going to talk little bit from scientific perspective and going to tell you that negative events also happen in your life, and they also start multiplying very quickly. But if you can see the image here in front of you on the screen, how the brain is looking at the bad and the good. Okay, the conscious effort that you make to tell your brain that, you know what, I'm little busy, that is how you deal with your negative thoughts, negative biases. That is the most easiest way to do it actually, but you need to train your brain. Just because we don't train our brain for that from childhood, it keeps on multiplying. And for example, for teachers, I can give this is that when you are in school and if there is a perception that you've created about a child, then it stays with you for a longer time. And because there are so many children that you might be managing at the same time, it is difficult to change that negative perspective about a child. So we need to remember to use positive psychology in a way that you don't have to suppress your negative thoughts. We need to address them. We need to acknowledge them. Okay. So how does one person overcome negative bias? Of course, as I said, one is self-awareness. First, you need to be aware that you have a negative bias, negative thought, and challenge that negative self-talk. You need to have a conversation with your negative self-talk, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of mindfulness, breathing techniques help in these cases. Savoring the positive moments, paying more attention on the positive moments will actually help you to overcome negative bias. So I'm going to talk a lot more about the exercise and activity when I help you to create a toolkit. So I'm going to quickly jump to what is resilience, because this is what a teacher needs. Teacher needs and a student needs as well. We all need actually. We need to bounce back from what has happened. And that is what we are here for. A Health of Mind and the entire team has worked so hard to reach, to you, to take this message to you that whatever pandemic situation we were in, the COVID situation, and we were under lockdown, and we are still working from home. In many cities, we are still working from home. This was an adversity, and we were frustrated. Frustration was very high. We were frustrated, and there was a lot of anger, and I'm sure there were a lot of emotions, a lot of other personal challenges you might have gone through. But how much is your resilience? And my aim today is to also help you build that so that you have the ability to bounce back. Okay, meaning of resilience is the how you face the hardship, how do you face your challenges, how quickly do you recover, Okay, again, it does not mean that I'm rejecting my negative or unpleasant emotion, or मैं भाग जा रही हूँ मेरे problem से. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है. Resilience is how you learn from your challenges, how much you use the resources that you have around you, and you bounce back with your strength. This is what I want to build today with every teacher. So let's talk about positive emotions. What do you understand by these positive emotions? I would really like, you guys to mention some points about these positive emotions. Which positive emotions do you actually connect with the most? Okay, there are 10 positive emotions on the screen, if you can see. Quickly, if you can tell me which positive emotion you connect to. Hi, Samina. Samina has joined us and written hi. Avantika, I'll ask you till the time people are thinking which positive emotion they connect to. I would like to ask you which positive emotion do you connect with?
Sure. So I think recently with the pandemic, the one thing that's
Hmm.
really kind of hit me is gratitude. Like we just have
Mm-hmm.
so much to be thankful for, and
Correct.
this has just helped me realize that so
Right.
important.
Right. And we can see a couple of people mentioning gratitude
Yeah,
in the chat box
see
as
it.
well. Gratitude, and inspiration. These are positive emotions that we connect with. We need to learn to connect with other positive emotions as well. If you connect with gratitude and you've consciously started working on, gratitude and inspiration as a positive emotion, hope, again, yes, we've got hope on our chat box, is such a beautiful emotion to be with. It's just that we need to multiply that in our life, because personally, if we have all of these emotions in our bag, then we can use them more and keep multiplying it. Like for example, when you're grateful, you keep seeing more and more things that you're grateful for in your life. You get more and more hope as you move ahead in your life. So all of these things pick up more and more emotions. Now there are 10 emotions in front of you. Don't only stick with one or two. Pick up more and more emotions for yourself. See, when did you felt love? Right now I'm just going to ask you to reflect, as you're listening to me, that when do you actually felt really love? Okay, and how much do you love yourself? How much serenity did you experience in last 1 week? What were you grateful for, today? We are almost at, by the end of the day, Saturday. What were you grateful for today? Was there anything that gave you like an awe feeling? Okay, this is very different from that awe that people do. Okay, this awe feeling is when you look at something and you just have one moment where you just feel wow, that kind of emotion. When did you actually felt joy? Okay, when did you feel joy when you were helping somebody? What did you do that was truly your own interest? I'm asking these questions to you. Keep answering it to yourself, because that's when you will understand how much are you connected with your own positive emotion. Okay, what hope do you have today in life that you are, moving ahead in life? What is it? What is that one thing that you take pride in for yourself? What amusement did you experience? Who inspired you? Who's your inspiration? Think of that person. It can be a family member, somebody you read in the newspaper, watch on television. So I'm sure you were answering all of these questions to yourself, because the whole purpose over here is to connect with those positive emotions. Again, coming back to a very, very interesting, um, research that people have worked upon, psychologists have worked upon, and come up with 50-40-10 rule. So what is this 50-40-10 rule? So 50% of our life, of ourselves, what we do and what we are thinking of doing, or how our life has been, is our creation is basically based on our genetics, our biological combination, and, coming from our parents, grandparents, and our family history. We cannot do anything about it. Okay, we cannot change that thing in ourselves. So that 50% is like you're stuck with it now, whether you like it or you don't like it. This is what you have, that 50%. Now, coming to the remaining 50%, 10% of things happen to you. So that is your situation. Okay, 40% of it is what you think and do at that time. Okay, if you disagree with this, you have questions about this, please ask me right now. I will explain it to you again. This is a research which tells you 50% is your genetics, 10% is your circumstances, but 40% is what you actually do in that situation, your choices that you make. Okay, so that is what I want you to work on today. When we are creating that toolkit for yourself, when we are talking about using positive education in school with our students, with our children, then we need to understand that 40% आपके हाथ में है, आप क्या कर रहे हो. For example, 10% COVID is a situation, but what I do, how I take care of it is my choice. If I sit and crib about it, it's my choice. That 40% is my doing, my thinking. Okay, we need to understand this rule and we have to operate from this rule. This is a positive psychology, very, very known research. You can actually even read more about it and understand more. So here is the question time. What will you do if you need a mango tree? Samina, thank you so much for saying that I'm your inspiration. Thank you for being here also. So now please answer the question, what will you do if you need a mango tree? The quick question. We have a couple of participants here with us, and I would really request all of y'all to quickly tell me in the chat box, because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this activity. We need to cover a lot. Go to a mango farm. Okay. Farm, maybe sow a seed, or market. Okay. Sow a seed. We have to sow a mango seed. We have to sow a mango seed. Sow a seed. Absolutely. If you need a mango tree, you put a mango seed. You plant a mango seed. You will not plant an apple seed. Okay. If you need a mango tree, mango का ही seed जाएगा, apple का नहीं जाएगा, या कोई और fruit का नहीं जाएगा. So as simple as this formula, we need to understand our brain works in the same way. Okay, the emotions and everything that you put in your mind or child's mind, if you tell the child, I remember this case when I was counseling in a school, and a child came to me and he said, I'm going to fail this exam. And I said, what makes you say that you're going to fail this exam? And he was very clear about it. And he said, yeah, because everybody says I'm going to fail, so I might as well prove them right. Why do I even study? They keep telling me fail ho jayega, fail ho jayega, fail ho jayega. And he's like, yeah, okay, main fail ho jaunga. He accepted it so easily and he was not even feeling bad about it. The thing was that we need to understand when we're dealing with children or even our own mind, what we feed in through our five senses is so very important. What is it that you're feeding into yourself? What is it that you are giving to the child? What words are you actually using? You cannot use a negative word with a child and say, oh, he's going to reply to me, उसको खुद समझ में आ जाएगा, वो calculate करेगा और बात करेगा positively. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. Okay, the child generally, children, even teenagers, they tend to mirror you. Okay, they tend to give you things back the way they've been given to them. The same thing your mind does. If you can see the image over here, these are the five senses. This is how you put the information in your mind through our five senses. Like right now, you are looking at me, you're looking at the screen, you're taking information. You're hearing, you're listening to me. And by these two senses, you're taking information consciously. We are conscious. We are completely aware right now of what we are doing. Once you go to sleep, there is a filtering process which will start in positive or negative. Okay, now once it is stored somewhere, it will go and get stored somewhere. Next day morning, when you wake up, the same thing you'll use. You cannot use anything else. You will only use what you feed in your mind. Okay, so we have to create a tool today for ourselves and even for the children based on these two important concepts that I have given you today. That 40% is in your hand, and in that 40%, I choose what I feed in to my brain and to my mind. Okay, So let's create a toolkit. A lot of y'all used gratitude as a very important positive emotion for yourself. These are 5 tools. Okay. Now please remember one thing. When you're using these tools, you need to use one tool for next 7 days. Then change the tool. Don't use empathy, meditation, kindness in one week. Don't do that. Like, for example, you can actually use this as a task for your students also. Give them journal writing work for 7 days. Then next week, you can always change the activity. But these are main tools for positive psychology. So gratitude is, what are you grateful for in life? So you can either write gratitude in the night before going to sleep, wake up in the morning, read that, and that's how you start your day. Maintain a gratitude journal. There is separate journal writing task where you can actually write your emotions, your feelings, how was your day, your strengths, your weaknesses, your good, bad, everything. You can keep doing journaling. Every day is also fine. Empathy is another part where empathy is very different than sympathy. Are bichara, are wo bichari, uske साथ ये हो गया. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about empathy. Empathy is when you are in that person's shoes and understanding what happened with them and saying that I understand and I'm here for you. Okay, that you can do it with a child when you just say, "अरे उसके तो माँ बाप का divorce हो रहा है." So that's sympathy. You're just pitying the child. But when you actually talk to the child and you say that I understand that it's a difficult situation for you and I'm here for you if in case you want to talk to me, that's empathy. Meditation and mindfulness is a very important tool which you can practice every day. Simple breathing techniques are available. So much content is available online on apps. Try and practice that. And kindness. This is something that I actually want you all to practice more. And in COVID situation, I am seeing a lot of my clients have been practicing kindness. In fact, being kind and helping someone especially during the lockdown and the COVID period, has given a sense of accomplishment because sitting at home, you have nothing to do. So when you were actually helping somebody, you were helping, like maybe feeding the dogs and cats in your area, or just helping the people who are working around the security guard, giving them food, or donating something where in whatever area you uh, you know you live in, or there is particular area which is affected and you send something over there through whatever resources are available. Those kind of things can be done more and more. Okay, and kindness can be also making a call to somebody you actually feel would need that call from you. Okay, and is alone, or when you go down to a medical store and buy something for someone who is not going out and is your neighbor and is senior citizen or something like that. So many acts of kindness can be actually done. So I guess somebody is asking in the chat group about explain the journal writing. Yes, journal writing is one of the tools where you can keep an emotional journal. That's one way of doing it. That every day you write, how are my emotions today? What emotions am I feeling, or what emotions did I felt high today, low today? So you have a journal of emotions. It can also be your life story. You write every day what happened with you. It can also be that you only write the events that were important for you, or you write what were your achievements, your strengths and weaknesses. So you can choose what you want to write in the journal. Okay, it's just that you document your life every day. Okay, that is what is journal writing. So it's your own way of expressing your own life on daily basis. Okay, so these are the tools, and I hope you guys are going to use more and more of these kind of tools and put it in your bag. And I'm going to go to a very focused communication because right now we are talking to you teachers who are looking forward to how to use a very important technique called PERMA. PERMA model is one of the positive psychology education models. Okay, so I'm going to go to next slide to show you and come back to this. So this slide is actually what I'm going to discuss with you, PERMA application in one of the schools. One of the school teachers have actually used this technique. So what is this technique? This is the technique, PERMA technique, where you organize your work with a student, with your organization based on these letters. Okay, So the first letter is positive emotion. I spoke a lot about positive emotion. I helped you create your own toolkit for it. So I hope you put at least two of the tools in your bag to use it every day. Okay. And after 7 days, change it. Okay. So, for example, what makes you feel good is what you're going to put in a positive emotion. Now, how will you use it in a school? How will you use this in a school setting? That's why I have put this slide, because over here, you see how has this particular school, okay, Windmill High School, has actually put positive education through the PERMA model in with students, in application with students. Okay, so if you can see here, they have put positive school culture. Okay, they put growth mindset, anti-bullying strategies. According to the school perspective, they have put in positive emotions. What are positive emotions that they want to reinforce in a child in a school situation? Okay, what are year-based activities which will help to increase the positive emotions? If you remember, I showed you 10 positive emotions in the beginning. Based on those 10 positive emotions, what are the positive emotions that you want the child to actually learn? I know there is a lot of education and a lot of syllabus to complete, with the child, but I very strongly feel if you do not help the child overall, he's not going to learn what you're actually going to just teach them. And in this new normal that we've come into, a child is also frustrated. Okay, it's not that they are only working on the screen. Remember the days when you were younger, you had the space to get out, you had the space to go out and practically learn some values like team building and helping and kindness, because we were with kids, we used to fight, we used to play, we used to come back home and complain. Right now these kids are not getting that. Apart from the screen, the social interaction has been almost zero. Human interaction outside the family is become zero for them. Okay, so how are these people going to learn positive emotions? How are these people going to understand the importance of values or positive education? So when you need to put these small activities along with your assignment. Okay, I'm going to share a very interesting video with you guys on the chat box. Once I finish this session, you can actually go back and watch that video where a school has put this thing in application with students with activities. They have activities that you can actually use it with your own kids. Okay, so for example, now if I come to engagement, so what is engagement? How do you engage the child with the flow of the activities? Make sure that you lose the track of time, those kind of activities. And every child is different, like how you are very different, right? There is nobody who has the same fingerprints as you have, or thinks like you, talks like you. There is no other being like you on this planet. So it's the same way, there is nobody else like the child who's talking to you. So every child on that Zoom conversation that you are having, or online conversation that you are having with students and doing a lecture, is different, will maybe not pay attention 100% to what you're saying. So how do I make the engagement that strong? Okay, so having a musical instrument, how about that? Telling a child make noise of something, get something to the class which will make some kind of noise. It will take you 2 minutes, but they'll be so excited for the class. And after that, you just teach them whatever you are going to teach them. They will listen to you. That 2 minute of engagement with them is going to get you attention for the whole 40-45 minutes of the lecture that you're going to take with them. Okay, be creative in these things. Okay, give creative assignments. They will really enjoy doing that. I know you might not have time. I know you might have your own balancing at home, working at home and working from home on the laptop, and you are completely frustrated with the technology also, because maybe you are not understanding of what is happening. It's new to you, you've not done it, but you did it for 6 to 8 months now, right? So we've reached to a space where we've made peace with it. Now we are here, we are using technology, we are talking to kids. So might as well do the best that you can. And also always, remember that these 2 minutes, as I was telling you, when you engage with them in the beginning will give you attention for the whole class. Okay, give them activities, give them lot of activities. Look at here how they've kept an alarm, peer reading in class when you're doing, make students read, project based learning, technology to support learning. We're doing that anyways right now. Study skills seminar, creating an extra seminar or something from the school perspective. This is from the school perspective for students. How do you actually build relationships with the students? Parents need guidance as well. Okay, because they are also not used to seeing their kids sitting in front of a system for so long. सिस्टम के सामने बैठे हैं मतलब गेम ही खेल रहा होगा, यूट्यूब ही देख रहा होगा, नेटफ्लिक्स ही देख रहा होगा. So this may be not true. Maybe he's attending a class, maybe he's watching educational video. On how do you talk to parents is also very, very important. Group activities. I know teachers, sometimes parents can get, you know, too demanding from the teacher and expect a lot from you. However, once you have that balanced approach between, your work and helping parents on how to help students, a lot of your work will be easy. Okay, like I remember a teacher asking me in one of my workshops in a school that parents always come and tell me मेरा बच्चा तो खाता ही नहीं है, ये करता है, वो करता है, and every time पढ़ता ही नहीं है. And these are the general complaint a parent would come to this particular teacher, and she said, I don't know what am I supposed to reply to it, because I know he's eating well, but mothers sometimes they're over protective and they want to overfeed the child and always think कि मेरा बच्चा खा नहीं रहा है. And they're playing, they're growing kids, so of course they might be not putting on weight. Now they might be putting on weight, but when the no regular school time, this was a complaint at that time. And I told the teacher that why don't you ask a parent to write to you, write the problems that you have with the child, because a parent who genuinely feels like that for a child, this is the trick. If a parent is genuinely concerned about the child, the parent will actually write to you. And then you're helping the right parent. But then if parent is just coming and complaining, that he or she is not going to write to you. You're going to figure it out how to deal with it. So you can actually use these kind of small techniques to filter who to help, who not. And always go back to asking yourself, why did you be a teacher? What was the reason that you became a teacher? What is the meaning? Why? And if you don't know, do it today. Please write down today why you chose to be a teacher. Why are you in the profession, what you're doing today? Okay. And the same meaningful, purposeful task you can give to the kids. You can give them projects to apply kindness. The best way for them to understand, community work is to actually apply kindness, which is such an important tool. Okay, so again, a positive psychology research done in one of the universities in Canada, where they gave $20 to group A and asked them to buy something for themselves. And they gave $20 to group B and asked them to buy something for somebody else. And both the groups were asked to come back and give a happiness test. And it was found that people who bought something for somebody else were more happy. They scored higher on happiness scale. And the same research was done in Africa and different places of the country in the same way. And the same results were found. So when you do something for somebody else, you are more happy. So kindness can be a very, very important, tool. Give them accomplishment tasks. Okay, if they are accomplishing something, acknowledge them. I'm again going to, cite a research on this, and this research is actually even on a show called 100 Humans on Netflix. I think it's episode 6 or 7. If you all want to just binge watch a show on Netflix, please watch 100 Humans. It has amazing research which shows about appreciation, which tells you when you are actually appreciating somebody, how the person performs much, much more better. So I'm so sorry. So how does a person perform much more better when the person is criticized? Okay, it's actually a research and it is shown in that episode. You can go and watch it. Okay. And of course, the last part is healthcare, but that's of course from the school perspective, nothing to do particularly from your side, but make sure the child you're talking to is, healthy. And if you feel there are any red flags, red signs during this time, make sure somebody from the house knows about it. Okay. So these are the questions that are there in front of you. For your reference, you can actually make a note of it and answer all the questions under PERMA. Okay, and you will have an overall positive education in application with a child, but you need to actually work on this formula and answer it for yourself, because I can answer it for one teacher, but I will not be able to do it because all your school methods of teaching would be different. The kind of students like an SSC board, an ICIC board, or IB board is very different. Their way of culture is very different. So accordingly, you can actually use the PERMA technique and do it. And as I said, I will share the link with you guys, which you can watch and which can be very helpful for you to see if you can do it. I'm going to put you for on this screen also for some time, as this is a task done by one of the schools. You can actually share this with your school administration. Tell them that how useful positive education can be when we apply with the students. Because what is the aim? I want to know from you guys. What is the aim? What is it that you want to actually achieve when you're teaching children? Till the time I get the link, I want you all to put this in the chat group and tell me. Okay. Yes. Okay, my question here is that what is it that you actually want to achieve when you're teaching a child, or what is it that you would want to achieve from children? Okay, because children are the future and I'll do my best to provide them the right education. That's such an amazing response from you, Jyoti. It is so true that you want to provide your best. And when you want to provide your best to them, then we need to make sure that we take help of research that is happening, which will help you to grow emotionally for yourself also and help children to grow as well. So I'm very glad that you said you want to do your best. I hope you picked up some things for yourself from the toolkit today that we discussed, and you want to work on those things. There are resources. These two books are available online on Amazon and on Flipkart, on various platforms. I'm a Miracle Being in ABC. A lot of material I use, activities I use. I'm a Miracle Being is actually an activity book. Okay, so you can actually take that book and use a lot of those activities with children. Okay, be really helpful and stay connected. If you have any questions, you can start putting into the Q&A section. Avantika is looking at the Q&A. I'm looking at the chat box. So I have no clue if something's come in the Q&A section. So otherwise, I'm on social media on Facebook, Insta, YouTube. You can follow, and you can follow Health of Mind as well. And we are here on questions. There's Rebecca who said, educate them and inculcate good values. Absolutely, Rebecca. That's an amazing thought that you've shared. And we are here to do that for the children. And I hope that you could pick up some good positive emotions that you can use to, inculcate good values in your students. Yes, Amantika. Are there any questions on Q&A?
Yeah, yeah. So first, I mean, I just want to say that that was amazing. I feel like I've
Mm,
taken so much back, and
yeah.
I'm sure all of the teachers who are listening are, listening to you and thinking about what they could do differently.
Mhm.
So let's move on to the questions. I have a
Okay.
question from Jyoti, And she's asking, what strategies do you suggest for teachers experiencing emotional burnout?
Right. So as we were discussing the tools, those tools are not magic tools. Okay. Like I'm telling you today and you're going to use today, I'm going to feel good. Yes, you're going to feel good today if you use it. No doubt. But you need to use it tomorrow also. And you need to use it day after also. You need to use it every day, just like you brush your teeth. Okay. It's like weight loss process. It's a process. You can't lose weight in 2 days. Okay, so the same way, burnout or emotional burnout, you need to work on it on a regular basis. Okay, a lot of people take an extreme break and then come back and work again for a very long time and then go and take a break. Fine, maybe that works for them. But if you're going through an emotional burnout right now, and we know we are in a situation where travel or taking a break is not that easy, so we need to inculcate those tools of positive psychology into a daily practice that can
Absolutely.
actually help them to take care of their own mental health first.
Right. Completely agree. That makes so much sense. So we have another question that's been posted anonymously. This person wants to know, how do you think teachers can be relevant and also maintain their mental wellness in tough times like these?
Okay. So first, as I said, that the tools that we discuss has to be used on a regular basis for the teachers, for themselves, whether for teacher, for anybody, but especially for teachers, because you're dealing with so many people, you're dealing with so many students in one go. Okay, so of course you are going to feel very drained, especially when now you're talking to everybody on technology. Through the use of technology, you are going to feel drained, emotionally tired. So if you want to feel relevant, first you see how relevant are you for your own self.
Right.
How important are you for your own self? Are you taking care of your own self? I cannot sit here and give you a mental health lecture if my mental health is not fine. It's as simple as that. Okay, so I need to take care of my mental health to take care of somebody else. So it's very important for teachers because you are taking care of your own mental health and then imparting knowledge to the student. Do you go to a class without being prepared for your lecture, for the subject or the chapter that you're going to teach? No, you're not going to. You are going to have a preparation done. So in that preparation, use the tools and techniques that I've given you as an add-on. Combine them to make it interesting.
Okay, understood. We have another question from Rebecca. So
Hmm.
she is asking, how can we adopt positive psychology in teaching special children?
Okay, so with special children, as I said, when you use this formula, Rebecca, this is used for one particular school, as I was telling you. This part, when you write down positive engagement, relationship, meaning, and all of these things, under that, answer all the questions that have been asked here and all the points that are given here. Based on that, create an activity for that particular child that you're looking for to help or a group of children. Based on that, you will be able to help them because this is just a formula. It can be created uniquely for your own self depending on the needs of the child. Okay, so there will be special activities for what you want to inculcate in that child. So the link that I've shared with you, you will see couple of activities where they're using for students and with students in a particular school. So you can pick up some activities from there, but it's very important to understand what value are you trying to teach them? What positive emotion are you trying to, emphasize? And based on that, you create a strategy.
All right, okay. And we have another anonymous question. So this person wants to know, can you suggest a few mindfulness exercises or techniques that I can use with my class?
Okay, so the most easy technique that you can do, which is that you right now, I'm going to do that right now with all of you. Okay, so you all have to do this with me. Avantika, you are the first person who's going to keep answering to me with this
All
activity.
right.
Okay, so tell me what is the first thing that you can see apart from
Um,
the screen? Okay, what's the first thing that you can see? It can be a wall, window, painting, door, whatever, and people can put it in the chat. Yes, somebody's written wall. Suraj Other than wall. Yeah. Avantika, what is it that you can see? What's the first thing that you can
I
see?
can see my bed.
Bed. What's the second thing that you can see?
I can see my cushions,
Third,
my plug point connector thing,
fourth,
photo frames.
and take a deep breath. And that's when you come back to the present moment. This is a very, very small technique that you can use. It. How much time did it take? It just took like 30 seconds or a minute to
Yeah,
do that with you.
absolutely.
But you were with me. Your attention was with me. And people are typing on the chat box, so I know they are with me. When I'm asking them this question. So this is a very, very small mindfulness technique that you can actually do with a child and tell them, tell me what's the first thing that you can see, the second, the third, the fourth, and take a deep breath. And that's when the child is there in front of you, because you had to get the child to do breathing, right? Eventually, you're coming back to your breathing, but you have to get them in the present moment slowly. Okay. The other technique that you can do is use five senses. As I said, we take information through our five senses. So it's extremely important to use that also as a mindfulness technique. You can actually use it like, what is it that you can see? What is it that you can hear? Okay, so you already use two, senses, and then take a deep breath. Modify these techniques, and you can do a 2-minute breathing before starting a class, or you can just finish half your chapter and then do a 2-minute breathing. Okay, or as simple as that, ask the child to or your students to keep the hand like this, and you breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and you make the child do this with you, and they are with you. It's a mindfulness breathing exercise.
All right. Thanks for that, Rachna. I think we are out of questions. So you've answered all
Great.
the questions. And
Awesome.
yeah, so yeah, I think we've reached the end of our time with you. And thank you so much. This was such an enlightening session. And I'm sure that all the teachers present with us today and all our viewers have learned so, so much. So thank you, Rachna, for being here with us and taking time off to be here with us. And also a big thank you to all of our participants who took time off to attend this session. And yeah, thank you so much, Rachna. This was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.